Come on, pretty baby, let's move it and groove it.
At 84, Cliff Richard still rocks the stage like he's 20. He's sold over 250 million records and been Britain's favorite pop star for almost 70 years. But this summer, he said something that stopped everyone cold. I might be dead next year.
I don't know why I love you like I do.
Now that wasn't some sad goodbye. Cliff's still touring, still singing, still going strong. But it got me thinking, what keeps this guy going when everyone else from the 1950s has quit or, well, you know. So I dug into his story, and I found 4 wild decisions that explain everything. These aren't gossip rumors or tabloid junk. These are real choices that shaped 67 years of music history.
All my life I've been a dreamer.
From turning down Hollywood millions to helping kids nobody knows about, Cliff's been making moves that would shock you. If you grew up hearing Summer Holiday on the radio or saw him on TV, you think you know this guy. Trust me, you don't. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Cliff Richard is still here when everyone else gave up, and why his biggest secret isn't what you'd expect.
I got the one and only walking, talking.
Picture Britain in 1958. The country had 0 rock stars. Then this shy kid named Harry Webb picked up a guitar and recorded Move It. Boom! Britain had its own Elvis. Harry Webb became Cliff Richard overnight. The name came from mixing Cliff, like a rock face, with Little Richard. Pretty clever for an 18-year-old, right? But here's what blew my mind. While other British singers copied American stars, Cliff did something different. He stayed himself. He made British rock and roll sound. Well,
Going
Britain.
on a summer holiday, no more working for a...
The numbers are crazy. Over 250 million records sold worldwide, 14 #1 hits in the UK, more than 30 singles that made the charts. He's up there with Elvis and the Beatles as one of the best-selling solo artists ever. But here's what makes Cliff different from other superstars. While they lived messy public lives, he kept things private, really private. Like fans have been guessing about his personal life for decades. At 84, he's finally opening up. Not about scandals or drama. Cliff doesn't do drama. He's sharing the 4 big choices that kept him going all these years. The first one happened in 1963 and could have changed music history forever. But first, let me tell you something wild about that famous "I might be dead next year" quote. That wasn't him being sad or scared. That was Cliff being real about something most 84-year-olds won't admit. Every day's a gift. Every show might be his last. And instead of that making him quit, it makes him sing harder. Now about that first secret.
We're going where the sea is blue.
Here's a story that sounds too crazy to be true. After Summer Holiday became a huge hit in 1963, Hollywood supposedly offered Cliff a massive movie contract that would have made him bigger than Elvis. Wait, I need to pump the brakes here. That massive contract story gets told a lot, but nobody can prove the exact details. It sounds great, but it's probably exaggerated. Here's what really happened, and it's still pretty amazing. According to Cliff's own book and interviews with major newspapers, Hollywood did want him in the early 1960s. Movie studios saw this young British star and thought, we need our own Elvis. They wanted him to move to America, star in musicals, do the whole Hollywood thing. At 23 years old, Cliff said no.
I used to think that happiness hadn't been.
Now think about this. The Beatles were about to conquer America. The Rolling Stones would follow. Every British musician dreamed of making it in the States. Hollywood was the golden ticket to worldwide fame and serious money. But Cliff looked at all that glitter and said, no thanks. Why? In his words, he didn't want to become just another British Elvis copy. He wanted to stay close to his family and the British fans who supported him from day one. The Guardian newspaper called it a brave choice that kept his career rooted in British culture. While Elvis got stuck making movies he hated, Cliff stayed free to make the music he loved. This decision changed everything. Instead of chasing American fame, Cliff built something better, a 60-year relationship with British fans. He could experiment with different types of music: gospel, pop, Christmas songs, ballads. That freedom kept his career alive for 7 decades. John Lennon once said, "Before Cliff and the Shadows, there was nothing worth listening to in Britain." That respect didn't come from Hollywood movies. It came from staying true to his roots. So yeah, the Hollywood rejection really happened, but it wasn't about some secret contract worth millions. It was simpler and more powerful. A 23-year-old choosing loyalty over glamour. That choice made him a national treasure instead of just another movie star. And it set him up for everything that came next. But speaking of what came next, the second secret is where some people get really creative with the truth.
It's so funny how we
You'll hear this story online. Cliff secretly mentored Take That in the 1990s and helped them write 3 #1 hits. Sounds incredible, right? Problem is, it's not true. I searched everywhere. Cliff's books, newspaper interviews, Take That's own stories. Nothing. Cliff never worked with Take That. Their hits came from their own team. But here's what is true, and it's way better than any made-up mentoring story. Since 1961, Cliff has been quietly helping young people through his charity. Not one famous band, but thousands of regular kids who needed a break.
I drank the potion she offered me.
His official website says the Cliff Richard Charitable Trust has raised over £10 million for kids' education and health over the decades. £10 million. That's not pocket change. The Daily Mail reported in 2024 that he still helps new musicians today, but here's the kicker: he doesn't want credit for it. While other celebrities announce every donation, Cliff just writes the checks and stays quiet. He told one interviewer, "Charity is part of my faith, giving without expecting thanks." Think about that. For over 60 years, this guy has been funding music programs, supporting kids' education, helping young artists get started. Most of the people he helped probably never knew Cliff was behind it. That's the real mentorship story. Not coaching one famous band, but creating opportunities for thousands of regular people. Not for publicity, not for tax breaks, just because he could help. In a world where celebrities post every charitable selfie, Cliff's been doing the opposite. He gives millions away and keeps his mouth shut about it. This totally changes how you see the guy, doesn't it? While we're arguing about whether he mentored Take That, he's been mentoring entire generations through his charity work. But if you think that's surprising, wait until you hear about secret number 3.
Wonderful to know.
In 1961, Cliff's dad died. He was only 21, at the top of the world with hit records and screaming fans. But losing his father left him feeling empty inside. 3 years later, he went to hear Billy Graham, the famous preacher. That night changed Cliff's entire life. He became a Christian, and I mean really committed. By 1968, Cliff was so serious about his faith that he almost quit music completely. He wanted to become a full-time preacher. Can you imagine? No more summer holiday, no more tours, no more Cliff Richard. His friends talked him out of it. They said, "You can reach more people through music than preaching." Smart friends.
I know you're gonna rise up, feel stronger.
From then on, Cliff saw his music as part of his ministry. He made gospel albums alongside his pop hits. He did Christmas concerts that felt like celebrations. His faith became the backbone of everything. But faith wasn't just about music. It became his survival tool. Remember that rough time in 2014 when false accusations led to years of investigation? Cliff later said he collapsed emotionally while hiding out in Portugal. But his faith kept him going until his name was cleared in 2018. Even now at 84, he talks about daily prayer and reading scripture. One news outlet quoted him saying, "Faith helped me through scandal. It's my anchor at 84. Here's what strikes me about this. While other stars reinvented themselves every few years chasing trends, Cliff stayed steady. His strength didn't come from image makeovers or new sound. It came from something deeper. That's probably why he's still here when so many others burned out. Faith gave him roots, and those roots kept him grounded through decades of changing music. personal attacks, and now the reality of being. The third secret isn't about career moves or business decisions. It's about the faith that shaped every choice he made. Faith guided him through losing his dad. Faith almost made him quit music. Faith carried him through scandal, and faith still fuels him as he steps on stage in 2025, knowing each show could be his last. That spiritual foundation explains a lot about Cliff Richard. But the fourth secret, that's happening right now, and it's not what you'd expect.
Why you thrill me like you do.
Some websites claim Cliff has a secret 2-year retirement plan, followed by a surprise comeback at the Royal Albert Hall. Sounds dramatic, right? I can't find any proof of that master plan anywhere. No interviews, no official announcements, nothing. Seems like someone made it up. Here's what's actually happening, and it's both simpler and more powerful. In July 2025, Cliff told a Scottish newspaper, "I might be dead next year, so I live for today." He wasn't being dramatic or announcing some farewell tour. He was just being honest about being.
With love divine.
His website confirms he's doing another tour in 2025. Not as a comeback. The guy never really left. Just as another tour, maybe his last big one, depending on his health and energy. The Daily Mail made it clear this isn't about money. Unlike some aging rockers who come back because they're broke, Cliff performs because he loves it. He said his faith and joy motivate him, not his bank account. This pattern isn't new. Cliff has toured in every decade since the 1950s. Think about that. 7 straight decades of live shows. Most of his peers retired or died years ago. Cliff just kept going. What makes 2025 different is his honesty about time running out. Instead of pretending he'll tour forever, he's upfront about limits. These might be his last big shows, but that makes them gifts, not goodbyes. The never-ending tour secret isn't some strategy. It's the opposite of strategy. Cliff never planned big retirements or staged comebacks. He just kept doing what he loved, one tour at a time. His quote says it all. "I might be dead next year, so I live for today." That's not fear talking, that's acceptance. At 84, Cliff knows every day is precious. So instead of sitting at home worrying about tomorrow, he's on stage making music today. The fact that he's still performing puts him in rare company. Very few artists have hits across 7 decades like Cliff has. His tours aren't just concerts anymore. They're living history. So no, there's no secret retirement master plan. No hidden Royal Albert Hall comeback. Just Cliff Richard, still booking shows, still singing, still choosing to live for today. And honest, that's way more impressive than any master plan.
How wonderful to know.
4 secrets. 4 choices that kept Cliff Richard going for 67 years. He chose loyalty over Hollywood fame. He chose quiet giving over public charity. He chose faith over fame. And he chose to keep going when everyone expected him to quit. The real shocking secret, in 2025, being genuinely authentic, is actually shocking. Cliff Richard has been exactly who he appears to be for 7 decades. That's rare. His own words sum it up best. "I might be dead next year, so I live for today." That's not about being scared of dying. That's about being grateful for living. At 84, every show is a bonus. Every song is a gift. Every day matters. Now I want to hear from you. What's your favorite Cliff Richard memory? Was it Move It crackling through a radio in the 1950s? Summer holiday on a family TV night? Maybe you saw him live at some point. Drop your story in the comments. These memories keep the music alive long after the final encore. And if Cliff's story surprised you, the real story, not the made-up stuff, hit that subscribe button. We dig into music legends every week, separating the facts from the fiction. Because just like Cliff said, we might not be here next year, so let's celebrate the music that matters today.